we're starting to see so many things in the past 6 months that I think even 18 months, 2 years ago, there was still a little degree of skepticism as to whether this was really going to make a difference or not, if I'm totally honest. And I feel like in the last 6 months, that conversation has died. It's incredibly rare that I talk to anybody who still carries that. I think people see the potential. We can see the big banks, they're getting on board with it. We can see FinTechs are kind of driving it forward. So I think that debate has ended. I think people see the potential. I think they get it. I guess there's a big question as to where open banking goes next. And do we move into open finance and what some of the potential there looks like? Maybe we still need to realise a little bit more of the open banking potential before we start to turn our attention to the next thing. But I think that there's already been enough success and enough movement in the marketplace to indicate that there's more potential in this road and that we can push the boundaries a little bit further. I think one thing we do need to work on in the next 3 years is around trust, particularly in sharing data. We did some interesting research recently that shows, we kind of asked people, would they be willing to use open banking type services? We didn't put it that way, but open banking type services to see that, to understand their finances, and would they be willing to share their data in order to have a better view of their finances? And what we found is that people were willing, globally about 70% of people were sort of absolutely keen to be able to do that. But in the UK was the lowest of I think it was the 8 markets we looked at in terms of that trust piece, that willingness to share data. So I think if there's a barrier that we have to overcome in the next 3 years, in the open banking sense, to manifest some of these advantages we've been talking about, then I think it's going to be building confidence in the ecosystem. There's going to have to be collaboration to manage some of the risks. There are always fraud risks. How do we manage that? How do we create that sense of safety, security, the right protections being built in, right sort of consumer protections being built in? I think maybe that's the next big, that's what we have to get right if open banking is going to make that next big step again.